It's Matt again, and I'm back to teach you more about computers. And in this episode, in this video, I'm going to teach you about something that I just can't put off for any longer because it's such a fundamental part of the computer world. Whoops. And it's called, let me just take that little green dot away, and it's called, let's see, and it's called the internet. That's very messy. The internet. And so the internet is an interconnected net, kind of. So the internet was developed in, I think, the 1960s. By the U.S. government. And it was a way to communicate. It was a way to communicate between all the different computers that we needed. All the different computers that they had. And so it was called the internet because it was an interconnected net. And so, but the internet eventually, let me just exit out of that notification. The internet eventually expanded to commercial and residential areas. And the internet is a bunch of computers interconnected together. Now, there's my little cursor icon changing on me, and my special devices are being weird. That helps me draw. So let me draw a bunch of computers. Green and blue. And so say these are home computers. And then I'll have a special red computer in the middle. Then these yellow lines are the connections, which can be phone lines. Phone lines were the first kind of connections to the internet, or even cable lines if you have cable TV with, like, especially with the Comcast Corporation. You can see videos like that, or you can use that to connect to the internet. And so see, all these computers are interconnected together. So say this guy right here, so I'll draw the guy. He wanted a certain file from this guy, and I'll draw this guy. Maybe I should have drawn him in a different color. I'll draw him in a different color. Smiley face. And so this guy wanted a file. And so his computer would... My mom just sent me a text message through my cell phone. To my cell phone, not through it. And so this guy wants a file from this guy. So his computer would send a query, just like you have in a database. But it's kind of like a query, but it's called a request, which I might get into that later, maybe if you want to learn about more advanced computer aspects. And so this guy, he would give the file back. But only it's the computer that's requesting the file. The computer wants the file. And then the host computer will give it back. And so that's basically how most things work. But say these are home computers, and usually home computers can't transfer files from themselves unless they're set up special. And so that's why we have our special red computer in the middle here called a server. And so servers are special computers that host websites. And so these computers, this drawing is getting a little bit messy, so I'm going to scroll down in my drawing area here. And so we have our special yellow server. And we have, I don't know, how about in this light blue color, we have all our home computers. This is a very short home computer. That's just some really crude drawings. And so what they do is they go through the internet, which is all these interconnected computers. So, like, you have your connection here, and your connection here, and your connection here, and your connection here. And essentially this central point here is called an ISP. ISP or Internet Service Provider. I don't know why my computer is making these weird bumps and or thin lines in the words. And so Internet Service Provider, and then it's rerouted through them. And so basically they just kind of connect all the cables together, so you have this central point and all the cables are connected together. And so say this guy wants a certain web page, maybe a web page on how to use a computer, which is kind of out of context since he's using a computer, but let's just say that maybe it's for one of his friends who doesn't know how to use a computer. So you'd send the request through the lines, through the Internet Service Provider, to our server here, and then our server would respond back with the page that you wanted, and it would pop up on your computer screen in a special program, which I'll get to in just a second, called a web browser. And so it's the same for all these. This guy can request. Let's get a different color. How about this green color? He can make a request to the server, but also say this guy set up a server on his computer at home. That means this guy right here, this computer shaded in green, can access the computer shaded in dark blue via our pink and green connection, and so can request from there. And so then this guy, the server, will respond back, and I'm sorry this is getting a little messy with that, and voila, it's up on your computer screen. And so that's basically the internet. And so the internet, like all the different servers, they host different websites or internet sites or the World Wide Web, which is used through the internet but has some special programs that it uses to access each other. And so websites can be any number of things, and they're usually accessed through a web browser. And let me draw our web browser here. This is a relatively neat drawing compared to my other drawings of Windows. Web browser. And so our web browser, is essentially the program that goes through the internet, through the World Wide Web, and requests the page. And maximize and minimize, just styling up our window here. And so, basically, most web browsers, they have a back button where you can go to the page that you previously were at, and then a forward button, which if you've used the back button, if you've already clicked on the back button using your mouse and you put your cursor over there and you click your mouse button. Hopefully I didn't jumble that up too much, it sounded like it. And so then if you click the forward button, you go back to the page that you were at, and right here is the address bar. And the address bar is just a place where you type in the web address of something. And so a web address or address, or however you like to pronounce it, usually consists of http://, which is some kind of codey, like specific program computer advanced things, and then www. How about youtube.com? youtube.com/. And so this is called the protocol, which I won't get into too much. This is the domain name, which essentially points to a special number that every computer has called an IP address, which I don't want to confuse you too much right now. And right here is the path. And it's basically accessing a certain file or folder on the server. And of course, YouTube.com is a video sharing site, which is what I upload most of these videos to. But I'm also probably going to burn them to a DVD when I do anything with them. So, whoops. So that's basically what the internet is. It's a bunch of computers interconnected to each other, and so your computer has a special program called a web browser that accesses the internet and goes to a server using this address, a web address, and then returned is the page, and maybe there's a little, I don't know, video, and then there's a play button and a pause button and a stop button. Then there's a list of videos, vids, just for short. And so basically the web page then displays the file in the web browser. And certain files, you download them. You have to download them because the web browser can't view them. But you can view them on your computer. But you want to be careful about downloading, because maybe I can just bundle this up into 2 videos in one. There are bad things in the computer world called viruses. Oh no, viruses. And viruses are basically computer programs that bad people make. They're malicious programs, and they do all sorts of bad things to your computer. I've heard of one virus that restarts your computer continuously, or it also, some viruses slow down your computer, and they slow down so much that you can barely use it. Like, if you wanted to go maybe from here to here using your cursor, it'd take you about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Let me switch colors just for readability. And also sometimes they even corrupt, which means they edit files so they're not readable by programs, or even erase. They completely erase files. And sometimes they also sometimes they get access onto like CDs, which I'll talk about maybe in the next video, and DVDs, and also removable file storage, which all that is file storage. And basically that transfers the virus onto there, and it does any number of these terrible things up here. My computer's being unreasonably slow, but thank goodness it's not a virus, because I know I don't have any viruses on my computer. And so they get onto the removable storage, which then can be transferred to other computers, and then those computers are infected. So you want to be careful when downloading files from the internet. So I'm Matt, and in the next video I'll teach you about removable storage devices on computers. So I'll see you later.